So you're playing a big band chart, and all of a sudden there are these slash bars with only chord symbols on top and the text solo. If that makes you uncomfortable, this video is for you. We are going to take a look at a specific chart sent to me from Norway. Greetings to Per Ivar. But everything I say can apply to any big band solo situation. So the first thing is context. How does your solo fit into the overall arrangement? If you think about, for instance, a Count Basie arrangement, you might have a loud shout chorus where everyone is playing, and then suddenly only the rhythm section is playing, and Basie himself is kind of just noodling around on the piano. In a case like that, you want that contrast between high energy and low energy. If the pianist would play something fast and intricate, it wouldn't sound as good, right? Or if we take that classic example of Nelson Riddle's arrangement of I've Got You Under My Skin with the Frank Sinatra, the arrangement is building and building and building and culminates in a trombone solo. And that has to be loud and high energy. So if we take a look now at this chart, it's an arrangement of The Lady's a Tramp, and before the trombone solo there seemed to be some sort of ensemble section, probably pretty loud. Maybe all the horn players are playing here. Now I haven't heard this arrangement, so I'm just guessing from the music here, but it seems to be some sort of variation of the melody being played here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, bang, ba da bang, bang, pop da ba ba bang, bang, pop ba da pop pop pop. And then maybe the ensemble is calming down a bit just before the trombone solo. And then we have 6 bars of trombone solo, and then a repeat, and the same thing one more time. The solo specifically starts at the second beat of the first bar, so something is probably happening on the first beat. Do you want to wait for everything to finish, or do you start in the middle of it or at the end of it? Now the chords here are actually indicating that it is some sort of backgrounds, because the extensions of the chords are written out. So in the first bar, for instance, it says B flat 13, not B flat 7, maybe long tones in the saxophone section. And these more specific chords are telling the soloist that these are the extensions that are being played in the background. Now I don't think it's the case here, but sometimes there are, rhythmic motif backgrounds while you're playing, and you need to make sure that you are coexisting with them, playing against them, maybe imitating. Just make sure that it sounds good together. So in this case, you could go either way. If the ensemble section is loud, maybe the trombone solo could be softer, but you could also continue that energy. It depends on what is happening before and what is happening after the solo as well. Okay, so now that you have given some thought into how the solo fit into the arrangement, the next step is to learn the melody. If it's a well-known song, you can listen to recordings, learn the melody that way. Or maybe if you're not playing at the moment the melody is being presented in the ensemble, maybe by a singer, you can try to carefully, play along, learn the melody that way. In this case, we have The Lady is a Tramp. We are in B flat major. We start on the root. And here is where the solo part starts. So that alone can sound great in a solo. If we pick it up one octave, I don't think anyone will say, he's just playing the melody, that's lame. They will probably go, that sounds nice, man. And of course you can play parts of the melody, sprinkle it in, or just start playing the melody as practice and then kind of evolve from there. Also, when you look at the chords isolated, maybe they don't make much sense to you, but when you learn the melody alongside the chords, usually the chords feel more natural. The next step is to make sure you know all the chord tones and the scales. And for the three first bars, you can think E flat major, just to simplify. Of course, you embellish different notes depending on the chord tones. And even though it says B flat 13 specifically here, I usually start thinking F minor anyway, because it's just easier to come up with melodies, I think. You can add the bebop sound between the B flat and the A flat, so you have the A there as well. It works the same both on F minor and B flat 7. When it comes to the A flat 13, you can also think of that chord as an E flat minor instead. And either way, the E flat melodic minor works best. And then at the turnaround, you don't really have time maybe to think about, specific scales of each chord there. But to simplify, you can just think B flat major on all the chords except for the G7. And there I would play G Phrygian with major third. It sounds more complicated than it is. Now all of this becomes so much more natural when you apply the jazz vocabulary you hear on records. One more thing that is good to notice when it comes to the harmony is, I don't know if this is how you say it in English, but lead tone lines. So when you have lines that lead very nicely chromatically downwards, so starting on the B flat 7, one line start at the A flat, and then at the turnaround, if we start on C, or if we spice it up a little, we can start on the A. So it just helps when you start to create melodies, which is what we aim to do. And a great way to practice is to kind of compose melodies just knowing the harmony. You can even write it down if you prefer, or just slowly try to create nice melodies. One nice thing you can do at the turnaround is an exercise using only the chord tones. If the first note is the third and the last note is the seventh, it will lead very nicely into each other. Alright, you know the melody, you know the chords and the scales. Now let's mix in some blues. You can do it from start. Or wait till the third bar. Or even do it over the turnaround. Or something like that. Maybe for some of you I moved too quickly in this video, and for some of you it's just enough to give you some more ideas of what to do. But this is kind of a different style from the rest of the videos on this channel. So let me know your feedback and suggestions in the comment section. The video here is what YouTube thinks you should watch next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.